Hello and welcome to today's webinar with the fabulous Karen Reyburn from our marketing company, We Are PF. We've asked Karen to join us today to talk a little bit about the elements of marketing because I think it will really help everybody, and she is amazing, obviously. So welcome, Karen.
Thanks, Cheryl. And just as a way of introduction, do you want to explain, because we are, for those of you who haven't met me, my name's Karen and I run an agency that helps accountants with marketing, hence the connection with Cheryl. Do you want to just give a little background as to why you feel what we've helped you with as an accountant is still applicable to those who are not accountants?
Yeah, no, of course. So all of the team actually have gone through a program called the Accelerator, which outlines, and I'm going to get this wrong there, is it 12 elements?
12, yep, well done.
12 elements
Hey.
Of marketing. And obviously all of those 12 elements have been applied to us as accountants, but I feel, and Karen as well knows, that they're actually the same 12 elements that are applicable to any business. They've just niched it in a way that it talks more to us and helps us and our business. And we have loads of you comment all the time on our marketing, and yes, it is Karen and her team that are responsible for a great deal of it. So yeah, we'd be lost without them, and we work really well together with them collaboratively as a team to do everything that we need to do, all of the 12 elements.
Absolutely. Well said. And you've hit on a point which is so important, which is that marketing is collaborative. And no matter what help you get, whether it's through an agency or one person helping you or doing it yourself, there's still that collaborative element of talking with somebody and not just handing something off. So, and it's a great point, as you mentioned, about the 12 elements originally having been created for accountants because that is our unique audience. And as we'll talk about today, the very first of the 12 is, who are you talking to? Who's your audience? Now, for us at PF, it's accountants. But one of the reasons that we're sharing with you today is that we have had accountants saying, well, some of our clients, like what you're doing with marketing, like these principles, they might want some help. And we've done a few projects with some non-accountants, and I've got an example or two with us today. And what we've discovered is that all of the principles that we've created for accountancy firms do apply to professional services. Now, I will say there are things that apply even if you're a product business or a different kind of business. They're going to mostly apply if you're professional services, but if you're a different kind of business, then you make the adjustments as you listen. Like, this is the beautiful thing about learning about marketing or about anything, is this is not a prescriptive, I must do it exactly this way. It's, here's some principles, take them and apply them. What Cheryl and her team have done really well at Pink Pig is taking these principles and say, how do these apply to us at Pink Pig? And that can be different than how it applies to another accountancy firm or another kind of business. So the accountant marketer is the approach that we take with accountants. So we've adjusted it to the business marketer. And as we said, the principles apply to especially professional services. I'm Karen and I own PF. I set it up 11 years ago now, and we have 18 team members working all over the world. We have team members in the US, UK, Argentina, South Africa, Hungary. And all of those team work remotely, and we work with accountancy firms and other businesses all over the world. And I am the owner and founder and CEO of the firm. We have a board, and then we have a leadership team. And it's taken a long time to get to that point. And what I've been learning, and PF has been learning, is how we particularly help accountants. But as we said, the principles that we learned actually taught us there's a lot about marketing that can help all businesses, yourselves included. So this is PF. This is a front page of our website, and we've changed our brand and our messaging multiple times over the last 11 years. And right now we're in a phase where we want our website and our marketing to say who we talk to and what we help them do. And we want it to be very human. So this is Kendall, this is Steph, this is Ash, this is Elaine. These are people that as you work with PF, you will recognize and go, oh, I know Kendall. I saw her on the front page of the website. So that's a conscious thing that we've done that subtly gets a message across. All of the things that we do are intentional and get a message across that you may not even be aware of. And that's what we encourage you to do as well, is be really intentional with your marketing. So as Cheryl said, these are the 12 elements and they go in order. That's the most important thing I can tell you about these 12 elements. If you don't know who your audience is, who you're talking to, you're going to struggle with building your brand, because your brand is not for you. It's for your audience. It's for the people you serve. It still represents you and you've still connected to it. But if you build a brand that you love, then you are your audience. And if you build a brand that appeals to the kind of clients you want, then you are reflecting that audience. Same with your website, same with blog posts, same with video and social. You've got to know who you're talking to. And then you have to know their issues. And then you have what we call a cornerstone. I'll talk about that. It's an asset that represents how you do what you do. And all of these build on each other. So you can learn about them individually, but if you try and leap into building a website or changing your website without being crystal clear about who you serve, you're going to struggle, your visitors are going to struggle, and you're going to make it harder on yourself. So what we want to help you do is make it easier on yourself. The clearer you are, especially about these first 4, audience, their issues, how you do things, and your brand, when you are clear about these, then all the rest of your marketing becomes so much easier. I remember when we rebranded PF, we've rebranded PF 3 times. The first time when I set up the company, we did what everybody does and just threw together a logo and a name. Took us 5 minutes. Let's get to the serving of clients, because if we spend 6 months building this perfect brand based on we don't even know who we are yet, it's not going to help anything. So we threw that together. But then once we got clarity on who we were and who we served, then we rebranded. And then the third time round, when we went simple and just went with PF, which stands for the Profitable Firm, when we did that, I remember one of our designers saying, oh my word, all the design work I do for PF is so much easier now, because I don't have to go back and go, well, do I use this font? Do I use that font? It's just simple. We have the paint splash, we have the green, we have the yellow, we have the white. It actually gives you more room for more creativity, because you don't have to wrestle with these tiny little things. So that's what the 12 elements help you with. And we're just going to go through them. We're just going to go through them in order, because they go in order. And as you learn about them or are reminded of them, these are not rocket science. We're not saying you've never realized that you need to know your audience and have a website. But as you learn about them, consider how yours go in order and what areas, especially of these first 4, that you need to really pay attention to. So audience is first, which is who exactly do you want to work with? Now, there's a lot out there about avatars, customer avatars, or your ideal client, or whatever you call it. And that's good. Really, what that reflects is who exactly do you want to work with? And the more specific you can be, the easier it is for your audience, for your visitors, for your prospects to decide if they want to work with you. So when you're considering your audience, if you say, I work with small business owners, that's not specific enough, because a small business owner isn't going to come to your website and be like, oh, I'm a small business owner. Oh my gosh, I didn't know there was somebody who worked with me. Of course there's billions of people who do that. What you need is for your audience to come to your website and your content and your marketing and say, oh my word, that is me. That is me. I cannot believe there's somebody who works with me. And that's what we seek to do at PF for our accountant audience. We want them to be like, oh, a creative agency who works only with accountants and knows accountants, and the owner herself is a qualified accountant. That makes sense to me. And that's more appealing than here's an agency who works with lots of businesses. Now, there are some accountants who don't want to work with us and want to work with another agency. It's no problem. But what we're doing is creating our marketing so the right people know if it's for them or not. So your marketing is not for you. Your brand is not for you. Your website's not for you. It's for your audience. So one of the questions I'd like you to ask yourself is, think about a client or a customer where it didn't work out. Like the relationship didn't work out. You had a bad experience. Maybe they left you a really horrible review, even though you felt like you did everything that you could. Or the kind of client where the phone goes and you look at it and your heart sinks. You think about one of those and then go back and think about the sort of flags, the red flags or pink flags or whatever flags that you saw in the early days, and think about what you maybe didn't listen to because you were so determined to get the business. And we've all done it, especially again in the early days of business. We'll just take anyone. And then after a while, you get a little more distinct about it. But when you ask yourself, do you know, when I think about it, they were really picky. They ignored my emails for 3 months and then wanted to start tomorrow. They bought something and then complained about it the next day without giving us a chance to help. Whatever it is, like, notice those, because those flags are going to help you determine how you reach your audience. And you've got to think about the cost to you of taking on clients or customers that aren't a fit. Think about the financial cost, the emotional cost, the energy cost, the cost to your team. When I think about clients we've worked with where in the early days, we were like, oh, this isn't good. And that's a little iffy, but they're ready, and they're ready to spend money. And, you know, in our case, maybe they're an accountant. So therefore it's a fit. One of the things we've had to learn is just because we work with accountants primarily doesn't mean every accountant. It's an accountant who is ambitious, who serves with heart, who's willing to collaborate, who's willing to involve their team, who's willing to be personally involved in marketing, who's curious, who explores. This is one of the reasons we work with Pink Pig, because Cheryl and all the team have this attitude, have this approach. So it isn't just an industry or a type of business, it's a type of person as well. So think about those flags. And just as a side note, red flags are the obvious, you know, hell no, this is not going to work. Pink flags are the, this could go either way. It doesn't look great, but taken in connection with other things, it could be okay. And green flags are good things, like, hey, I love this, or I like this about this client. And gold flags are the, if every client or customer we have was like this, bring it on. So the more green and gold flags you have, the better. The more pink and red, that just helps you to determine who your audience is and then be specific about that. And once you know your audience, then you can move on to their issues. What is it that they are feeling or wondering? This is why most websites that say, here is a list of our services, and I'll use the accountant example because we know accountants so well. There are so many accountancy firms whose websites say, here's a list of our services: management accounts, payroll, VAT, tax, consultancy, they're all the same. And you, as a client of Pink Pig, I doubt that you came and went, oh, you do management accounts? Oh my gosh, I'm going to read every word of this page. Whatever your problem or your issue was, you just wanted help with that. You wanted that thing solved. So when your marketing talks to those issues, they're more likely to lean into that. And I've taken this from the Pink Pig website, and I remember this well, Cheryl, when you and I were talking about this, that like this principle of a business owner who gets trapped in this cycle of guilt. When you're working, you feel guilty you're not with your family. When you're with your family, you feel guilty you're not looking after your business. That is something that many people, not every person, but many people can relate to. And if you read this and go, oh my gosh, that's the trap that I'm dealing with. This guilt trap doesn't specifically relate to accounting. But what we've done here and what Pink Pig has done here is say, we know this is your issue and we get it. And we're here to help you as much as we can help you in this particular area. So when you know your audience and their issues, again, that makes your marketing easier because you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about them. That's what your marketing is for. Your website is for them. Your messages are for them. Your content is for them. And if you say, we are this company, we started in this year, we do these services, then it's all about you. They don't want to come and read all about you, maybe a little, maybe your about page. Maybe they want to see pictures of you and your team or your products. But ultimately, they want to know that you get the problems that they have and you're there to help them with them. The third one we call a cornerstone, because a cornerstone is the first stone that's set in when a building, like a historic building, is being built with all the bricks and it's going up, and this is a very historic occasion. And there's a cornerstone that's literally set at the corner from which all the further stones come. So you set that one, and then you set all the other ones around it. If you pull that out, the whole building's going to slide a bit. We use the term cornerstone to describe a visual that you share with your clients, your potential clients, your prospects. This is how we do things here. Now, the difference between a cornerstone and a building is you set the cornerstone first and then build the building. In your business, it's very likely you just build the business and then you sort of look back and go, oh, that was the cornerstone, or that is the cornerstone. So an example of this is PF's marketing map. This is our visual to say when accountants or anybody works with PF, we start with training. The accelerator that Cheryl mentioned goes through these 12 elements in a coaching group for 12 weeks. That's where we start, because when you understand these 12, everything else you do with us is easier for us and you. So if you were to say, listen, I just want PF to help me with a brand. Well, the first thing you're going to need to do is understand how brand fits into that whole picture, which will make it easier and better and faster for the brand process. Same for websites, same for content marketing. So we put this visual together. Now, we were basically living out this visual from day one at PF, but it took us 6 years to put this in a visual, and then we kept adapting it. We have multiple versions of this map, and we use it to say to prospects, this is the approach that we take. It's not rock solid prescriptive. Some people start here and go back here, but one of these two is where somebody's going to begin, because we know from 11 years of doing this that if we leap into this before doing these things, we know we're going to hit the same problems, and we just want to save everybody time. So your cornerstone, and one of the things that you can do as I'm going to try and give you little specific actions that you can take as you're going through this, because if you're not ready to have your full cornerstone designed and visual, just sketch out, this is how we do things here. Or this is the journey I know that our clients and customers follow. Just start sketching it out, literally on a piece of paper, on a tablet, or on your computer somewhere. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just sketch it out and then run it past a client and say, does this seem accurate? And if 3 or 4 clients are like, oh my word, yes, absolutely, it makes so much sense, you can then use it either with clients or with prospects to say, this is how we do things. And there are loads of companies out there who help accountants or help businesses with marketing. We just happen to have a particular approach, which makes it easier to explain when we're in the marketing and sales process. So you've got your audience and their issues and your way of doing things. The fourth item, and as I mentioned, the first 4 are the most important. The fourth one is branding. Now, there's loads of elements to branding. Branding includes your name, your logo, your values, your colors, your way of doing things, the clients you serve. There's loads that goes into branding. But the one I want to center on now is your values. If you don't have these documented, I suggest 3 to 7 of them, either a word or a phrase that says, this is what we stand for. You could also come up with, this is what we don't stand for, and then state the positive of it. Most people want to know the positive of the values, but it's not enough just to have a page on your website and say, we have integrity, we have excellent service, we have blah, blah, blah. It has to be part of how you do things. So again, using Pink Pig as an example, they've got a whole manifesto that we helped design with them. But again, we didn't tell them, here's what we're going to go, here's the values that are going to go in here. This came from Pink Pig saying, this is what we stand for. This is our mission. This is who we are. This is who we serve. Now, you can have a full designed manifesto like this. You could have 3 or 4 words that you put on a website or on a social post. Again, keep it simple for now. If you don't have the words documented, start there. And the single best way to figure that out is to go back to those clients or customers that didn't work out, that it was a fail, it was difficult, it cost you money and time, it was frustrating. You never want to have a client or customer like that again. Think about what it was that wasn't a fit, and then flip that around and say, so therefore, we have this positive value. They didn't communicate, so communication is one of our values. They complained all the time, so positivity is one of our values. Whatever it is that didn't work for you, that can point you to what does work. That's one way to think about it. Number 5 is design. And when you have your brand clear, when you know your name, your logo, your colors, your values, your audience, all of those things, then, as I mentioned, design can come easier. So PF's, this is PF's Instagram and some screenshots of our Insta. You can instantly get a sense and a vibe of PF from the colors and the style and the approach and the people. Remember I mentioned we're all about human people. There's me, there's Camilla, there's Elaine, there's Jamie. A lot of them are people just in there, like this is Jamie in Chicago in front of some street art. This is some candles that one of the team saw when they were shopping that were in PF colors. This is me and Elaine and Amy getting together when you finally could after COVID. Quotes from clients, but all of it has the same feel. That's made easier because we've clarified our whole brand, which isn't just colors and fonts and styles. It's a whole sense that you get of color and creativity and people and humans and reality. That's who we are. And whoever you are, that needs to come out. And it's okay if that takes time. You look back at some of the PF content from the early days, and it's just night and day because we're a different company now in so many ways. And that's okay. That's good. Businesses change. Your brand is going to change as your business changes. Who you serve, how you serve them. We have 18 team members now, so most of our videos come from the team. It used to be only me. I did all the videos. Such a relief now to have the team doing them with me. I still do them, but we have the team doing them as well so that people know that PF isn't me. I happen to be the owner, but we have this whole team of people. And what encourages me is that now, because of all that work that we've done, when people refer to me and PF, they usually say, and I think Cheryl, you said it at the beginning, Karen and her team, because it isn't just me. You don't work with, I mean, you wouldn't work with me directly once you become a client. That's why we have this 18-person creative team. You don't want to work directly and only with me. I'll be great at coming up with all these brilliant ideas, but the team are the ones who help you implement it. That's what they're good at. That's why they do what they do. Number 6 is your website. Now, when we think about the 12 elements, the first 6 are like the foundational ones. So you've got your audience and who you're talking to, their issues, your way of doing things, your brand design, and your website. The ones past this are where you begin to really reach out with content that you're sharing to them. But a website is still a good thing to have. I'm not going to say hard and fast, you must have it. There's loads of businesses out there that just use Facebook or Insta or have no website at all or a phone number. You know, it's possible. But for most in professional services, especially, and for most businesses, a website is still yours. It's your hub. It's your place that people come to and your way to say, this is who we are. You don't own Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. You don't own those. So if they go down tomorrow, you've got nothing. But if you record a video and you have it yourself and it goes on TikTok, if something terrible happens there, you can just put it on your website. I would argue it's often good to do both. You know, you can embed it into your website. You can put that video there. But the point is the website is yours, and it's often where people go just to get a little sense of who you are. They also go to social media of whatever their preference is. And we'll talk about that is element number 11. But they will go to the social that's for them. So it's about what they prefer. But people go to your website, even just for a second, just to get a sense of it. And if they go there and it's boring, or it doesn't talk to them, or it's generic, or it looks templated, or it doesn't have a clear message, they might not get in touch at all, even if they've been referred. And that is a statistic that has been true for a long time. Now, the statistic I know is for accountants and financial businesses, but I would argue the same is true for professional services. And that was that 48.5% of people who had been referred never got in touch because the website or the marketing didn't move them enough. So this is somebody who's been referred. They said, you need to go to this company. They are great. And the person went to their website and went, oh, it's okay, I'll do it later. That's a big loss of potential business. And that's just people who've been referred. What about people who've never heard of you? They're coming to your website trying to get some of their questions answered. Answer them. Answer them from a them perspective, not a you perspective. So there's 5 things that your website has to have. And if it doesn't have any, and my small tip for you on this one is look at your own website and ask yourself if you are crystal clear on these 5. And if you are not, pick the one that is the least clear and work on that. It's going to take you time to work through all 5 of these. Are you crystal clear about who exactly you serve? To the point that somebody could come and go, oh, that is me. Oh my goodness, that is me. If you're not that clear, keep working on it. Their problem. What is their problem? What is frustrating them? What is weighing on them? What is a wrong in their life that needs righted? Works great for accountancy firms and for marketing agencies too. You know, we have people come to us and are like, I am not getting enough leads. I am getting lots of leads, but they're the wrong kind. That is their problem. Actually, the higher problem is they're not getting enough sales, or they're worried about the future of their business. So you've got to address the problem so that they feel that you understand them. And then you can talk about how you solve it. You are feeling like this, you have this problem, here's our approach. When you have an approach, it's back to our cornerstone point, your way of doing things, they feel safer. They feel more confident. They feel like, oh, actually, this is not their first time. If you're sending a Word document or a hastily scrambled together email as a quote, the person's going, is this kind of random? Like, have they done this before? But if you have a nice, solid, clear visual that says, our approach is this, step 1, step 2, step 3, here's how to start, here's how much it costs, the person's like, oh, okay. They may still decide not to work with you, and that's okay. But you be clear about how you solve things. And don't worry about, all these other companies and how it may be quite similar to what other companies do. It's not going to be exactly the same, because no company is exactly the same. Every person, every company is unique. So just focus on you. Just focus on how you solve it and share that somewhere. Have a how we work page. That's another small tip. You can have a services page if you want, but I would argue that whether you call it services or how we work, what they really want to know is what happens first, what happens next, and how do you help solve my problem? That's what services are. You are identifying a problem or need and saying, here's how we help solve it. That's what they want to know. They want to know that more than they want to know, here's a list of services that we have. So many websites are so boring in that way. And you're reading it going, yeah, okay, I figured since you're a book editor, you edit books. Since you're an accountant, you do accounts and tax. I figured that. Tell me how you do things so that I feel more comfortable and I have less doubts and worries and concerns. The other 2 things your website needs to have is you do need to talk about yourself. Who are you? Who are you as a company? What are your values? Who are your people? If you have team members, show their photographs. Ideally, show videos. Let people meet them. Then they feel more comfortable. They're more apt. They're quicker to sign up and work with you because they feel like, okay, I'm already comfortable. I know this person. If you were, for example, if you're like, man, I like what PF does and I'd like to consider working with them. And then you go to our website and you fill in a diagnostic and then you get a call with me. You're like, oh, that matches. I saw her on that webinar, and that's what she's like. That's what you're trying to do for people. You're trying to help them feel comfortable so things aren't a big surprise. They're nervous, they're doubtful, they have fears, they have concerns, they have wonderings. Help them with that. And the final one is be very, very clear about the one thing you want them to do first. If you have 14 different calls to action on your website, call us today, fill in this form, take free consultation, download our PDF, read the book, sign up for the email. The person's like, it's too many. Just give them one thing. You can have other calls to action on your website, but give them one thing to do. And if they want to do something else, they'll find it. At PF, we have a diagnostic that people fill in. It's a questionnaire that tells us about your business. If you're not ready or willing to fill that in, no problem. You're just not ready to move things forward to talk with us, because we're going to ask you those same questions anyway, and it helps us determine collaboration. So if somebody's willing to fill in a form that takes 5 or 10 minutes to do, they're possibly likely to fill in the other things that we need to send them, because marketing is collaborative. So we tell people to fill in that diagnostic. There's loads of other things they can do. They can sign up for free stuff. They can download guides. They can watch videos. They can attend sessions. They can join our accelerator. But the first thing they need to do is fill in this diagnostic, because at PF, everything is very one-to-one, very custom. Now, I will tell you, as an example of something we changed, because this happens all the time in marketing, when we launched our most recent version of our website, our first action was join Accelerator. That's our 12-week coaching group. Everywhere, join Accelerator, join Accelerator. And after a while, we're like, yeah, but they don't know what Accelerator is. And it's 995 pounds, so they might not be ready to spend 1,000 pounds yet, until they know us and trust us and believe that that will help solve their problem. And maybe it will, maybe it's for them, maybe it isn't. So we backed it up and said, what do we actually want them to do first? We want them to tell us who they are and tell us if they want to have a conversation. And at the end of the diagnostic, it says, do you want to call with us? And the options are yes, absolutely. No, thanks. I'm not sure yet. If they say yes, we book a call with them in a few days. If they say no, we send them some free stuff and say, hope it goes well. Let us know if in the future you want to chat. If they say, I'm not sure, we send them some free stuff and some resources based on what they shared and say, if you get to the point where you would like one, just let us know. And then we put them on a list and we send them things by email, which is the next point. So email is what you set up to keep the conversation going and the connections going with the prospect or with the client so that they can come when they're ready. Just want to back up for a second. This was an example, is an example of a website for a client we've worked with. We didn't do their brand or website with them, but we're working with them on some foundational things. But because of some of the work we did with them, this is a consultancy who work with the parents and those who work with neurodiverse children. They've got loads of resources, by the way. So if any of you listening, if this is relevant, their Instagram and their website just have so many resources and tips and videos and things to help. Like on this particular page is for parents, but they also work with schools and with other organizations, charity organizations. And you can tell from this page, this page is for parents. This is to tell parents you're not alone. This is an online space that's hopefully safe. We have lots of experience. We come alongside you. Here's a video about how consultations work. So if a parent of a neurodiverse child comes to this and says, I could use some help, but this is tough and I don't know if they'll understand me, they can feel more comfortable by watching this video and seeing these messages and going, okay. And the rest of the page says, here's how you book it. Here's who you can book it with. Here's how long it is. They give all the information. This is what your buyer or your potential buyer does. They do research. So your potential buyer does 70% of makes 70% of their buying decision before they ever get in touch with you. They watch videos, they read words on your website, they read blog posts, they connect with social. We have people who followed us on social for years and then go, okay, I'm ready. Let people come when they're ready. So the last 6, those are the first 6. The last 6, email, blogging, video, social media, those things, these are where you're beginning to get this message out in different ways. So with email, I just suggest that you work on the content and the messages first. Use a G sheet. Like, don't get caught up with this, I need a CRM system and I need all of the bells and whistles. Fine. But the message that you're going to get across by email is the most important. So craft the email saying, every new client needs to know this. Here's an email we'll send. Every prospect needs to know this. Here's an email we'll send, etc. Craft those first, and then you can drop them into your mail system or your CRM system or whatever it be. Number 8, yes, number 8 is follow-up. And follow-up, there's loads that we could say here. Whenever we run our follow-up session of the Accelerator Coaching Group, it's probably the one that gets the most questions because it talks about sales and following up to sales. And that's an area with a lot of fears and doubts and questions for people. The one point I would suggest is, if you find that because of all this great marketing you're doing, you maybe have more inquiries than you can handle, or you're seasonal, and at certain times you have more inquiries than you can handle, don't ever let those get away. Just get a waiting list together. It can be as simple as a little form on a website that says, hey, we're busy right now, or we have a lot of clients or customers right now. Get on the waiting list and we'll get in touch with you as soon as we can. People love waiting lists. Side note, if you haven't read Daniel Priestley's book, Oversubscribed, I definitely recommend it, because this is what he talks about. He talks about how people love waiting lists because they feel like they're part of something. And this is a big deal. And yes, I have to wait, but once I get it, it'll be good. So an example is my book. I've written a book called The Accountant Marketer for accountants. Total side note, it is for accountants, but it's all these principles I'm sharing. So you're welcome to be on the waiting list too. You're welcome to buy the book once it comes out. You just, where it says accountant, you just replace it with business owner. Where it says firm, you replace it with business, but the principles apply. So we created a waiting list because the book is not ready for pre-sales yet. We're expecting that in the summer, but we have the waiting list so that when the pre-sales are ready, we can say, hey, thanks for being on the waiting list. Pre-sales are ready, and here's a little bonus extra for you because you're on the waiting list. So that's on my Karen L. Reyburn website. If you just go to KarenLRayburn.com, and it's there. And we've set that up, and we're setting up lots of other things that are going to come out as we stage through that. The next one is blogging. So blog posts are still a thing. And they're still a valuable way to answer the questions your clients and prospects are asking. It helps for SEO, helps for findability on Google, and it helps you to become a better writer, which is a good quality for any business owner or leader. Even if it's not your favorite, it's still something I believe is important to learn about, at least to a certain point. Now, some of our clients write by recording their thoughts aloud and then getting that transcribed. Some of them actually just hands to keyboard or pen to paper even. But blog posts are an opportunity for you to answer the questions that your clients and prospects have. If you've not read the book, They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan, I recommend it because the answer is in the title. Whatever they ask, your clients and prospects, answer it in a blog post or a video or social post or some form of content. And a blog post is great because you're answering the question that they are asking. This just makes your blogging so much easier, makes your content marketing so much easier. Content marketing is basically about listening and answering the question that they have, the real question they have. I often tell some of our accountant clients, most of the time business owners, and you can tell me, you can work this out in your head and tell me if this is accurate, you're not sitting there going, I wonder if I need a cash flow forecast and some management accounts. What you're probably wondering is something more like, can I afford to hire another team member or buy that warehouse or lease this vehicle or whatever it is that you want to do? Which is, what's my cash situation, what it's going to be? What's my most profitable product or service? Why is it that way? What's our seasonality? Those kind of questions are the real questions, and those are the ones that you need to answer. Don't try and make it professional and fancy sounding words. Just answer the question that they ask. And using Pink Pig as an example, how do I go about hiring an employee? This is one of the blog posts that's on there. That's a question that has been asked, so they answered it. They're like, hey, especially your first employee, this is going to be kind of daunting. We're going to walk you through this. And sometimes you're thinking, well, if I answer all their questions on a blog post or on my website, why would they work with me? The reason they do that is they read it and go, wow, damn, they know what they're talking about. I will ask them for help. Now, the other thing they might do is say, wow, they know what they're talking about. I got all the help I need. Thanks, bye. That's a win too, because they were never going to work with you and pay money anyway. So you've helped them. You've left a good sense in their mind. And if they ever need you again, they'll be like, yeah, that one company, they were super helpful. I'll come back to them. And if they aren't, then they were a client for you. Video. Cannot stress this enough. The author of They Ask You Answer, Marcus Sheridan, also wrote a book called The Visual Sale. I and my whole team, all 19 of us, are reading The Visual Sale. And the purpose of that book is to say this concept of answering your client prospect's question also applies to video. And you have got to be doing video. No question about it. There's no option here. Videos help you sell better and faster. Full stop. That's just a fact. Because we are in an age and a time where people want to feel comfortable and know who they're talking to. So if you have a human person or visuals of your offices or a review of your product, or somebody else does a review of your product or whatever it be, they are going to feel more comfortable and sign up to work with you faster because of these videos. You've done it yourself. We've all done it. You go to a website, you go to a social, you go to a certain company, and they're like, I mean, I did it. I was buying hiking boots the other day. I went to this outdoor website that I know and have bought from before, but I was looking at certain kinds of hiking boots, and they had questions like, how do I know my hiking boot size? Which was my question. And then they had an article and they had a video. So I read the article and watched the video. Then I looked at the video of the actual shoe I was considering buying, and they showed it from every angle, and they talked about what it was helpful for. There's a real human person standing in the shop. If I went to the shop, I would likely meet that or another person. That helps people buy faster. So what I suggest you do with videos, if you're not doing them or not doing them very much, start small, start safe. Do little short videos on Insta or TikTok or somewhere where it's like 2 or 3 minutes or 1 minute or 30 seconds or 10 seconds. Just start getting used to doing more video. If you have a team, if you have team members, get them to start doing videos. Just little ones. One of the things we did at PF is on our careers page, we have our team. This is just 12 of the, not the whole team. They got together, recorded a 2 minute. It's a 2-minute video. Here's who we are at PF. These are the people that you'd be working with if we hired you. That single video has been so powerful for anyone who's applied to work with PF, because they're like, oh, I remember Kresia. Oh, I remember Gabby from that video. Oh, they all seem like really nice people, and I like the vibe, and I like the sense of who these people are. Now, if they don't like it, that's also a win. They're like, I don't like this. Too many women in this firm. Bye. Fine. We aren't going to hire you anyway if it's not a fit for you and for us. So video helps move that along faster. Little tiny point on that one. One of the best series of videos you can work on is write down the top 7 questions that people have about working with you. That might be, how does it work? What happens first? What happens next? How much does this cost and why? Who do I work with? Whatever those top questions are that you always get over and over in the sales process, record those 7 videos, 2 or 3 minutes each. They don't have to be long. Videos as blog posts need to be as long as they need to be to answer the question and no longer. Could be a minute, could be 30 minutes, could be 3 hours, whatever it needs to be, whatever they need. Record those 7 videos on what the most frequently asked questions, the things that every prospect wants to know. Record those 7 videos. You have them individually. You can stitch them together as well into one longer video. And every time you get a prospect, say, here's the top 7 questions we asked. Watch this first before we have a call. It may answer your questions. You may decide you don't want to call. That's okay. Saves everybody time. I love that. That came from Mark Sheridan's visual sale book, and we're working on it right now at PF. We have the top 7 questions for the Accelerator coaching group. So if you go to our Accelerator FAQs page, there's a video where we are answering those questions that we've got over and over again. So if somebody comes and has those questions, they're like, oh, that's my question. I just got answered. Super helpful. Thank you. And then they either go to yes or no, which is what we want them to do. The 11th one is social. So with social media, couple points: use the social media platform your clients are most on. So if you don't love Instagram, or LinkedIn is not your favorite, but that's where your audience is, you got to use it. LinkedIn was never my favorite. I've come around to it a lot. I prefer Insta because it's much more visual. I like photos. I like videos. I love the stories. But most accountants who are our audience are on LinkedIn. So that's what I use, and I use it regularly. And I often get messages on LinkedIn of people saying, hey, I just wondered if, we could talk to you. And then I send them the diagnostic, and then they meet with me or one of the team, and we move them through the process. So with social, pick the social where your audience is hanging out. And I suggest using the 80-20 rule roughly. Maybe rule is quite a strong word, but 80% of your content is helpful. It's sharing other people's content. It's saying, here's an answer to your question. 20% is, here's our services. Here's something you can download by today. Keep that really small. Then you're not salesy. You're helping people, and you've got a balance. And again, using Pink Pig as an example, you can see the brand and the design here. But you can also see, 8 statistics all small business owners need to know. Or here's our team members. Meet Caroline, meet this person. These are the kinds of things people want to know, so tell them. So the 12th one is campaigns. And the reason I don't have slides on that one is that when you have these 11, that makes up a marketing campaign. Now, a marketing campaign could be this full, like we have a whole marketing campaign for my book, which is coming out, which is massive. And there's loads of actions, and it covers 6 to 12 months. And there's live events, and there's podcasts, and there's all kinds of stuff relating to that. You could also have a 3-day marketing campaign to tell your clients about a new offer, a new service, and just focus on that. But instead of saying, hi, we have a new offer, a new service, you go, who am I talking to? What is the one thing that they're struggling with? How do we help solve it? How do I make sure this is on brand and fits with our values? What do I need to design? Do I need a website page? Do I need email content? How will I follow up people who are interested? What blog posts will I write? What videos will I record? And what social posts will I create? Ta-da! You have a marketing campaign. And I don't mean to minimize it as if, oh, it's so easy. But on the other hand, don't complicate it. You want to build a marketing campaign for anything, just answer those 11 questions, put the actions together in a G sheet, you got a marketing campaign. That's how it works. So those are the 12. And if you do, if you've looked at this and you're like, hey, I'd actually like to chat to PF, whether it's something that we could help you with, or we say, listen, we're not able to help you, we send you to someone else. Our whole goal in life is to help people, whether we help them or whether somebody else helps them. So there's a special URL for the business diagnostic, because if you go to our website, everything's crafted for accountants. But if you go to wearepf.com and then just do business-diagnostic, we can give the link to Pink Pig, and you want to fill that in, you're welcome to. And if you want to fill in the whole diagnostic and say, listen, I don't want to call, I just wanted to, see how you do things, that's totally okay too. Because that's our approach, is to say, we love to help people. We particularly love to help accountants, but we've got a few non-accountants that we've started working with, and we really enjoy it. Eden Consultancy, who I mentioned, they have so many of the same kind of challenges with marketing, and it's a pleasure for us to apply these things to a different kind of company and be able to help people to solve whatever your business problems are. Because if you have a business problem, you have a marketing problem, and vice versa. So if you don't have enough cash, or you're struggling with your team culture, or whatever thing is difficult, there is a marketing solution for it within these 12 elements. And we want to help you find that so you can fix it so that your marketing is easier, so your business is better, so that you get to work with clients and customers that you love, and you never have that sinking feeling when somebody emails you or calls you, because you're working with the ones that you want to be and you enjoy it. And that's what we want as well.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. I'm going to share that link when we send out the recording to everybody. But yeah, no, thank you. That is really, really helpful. And it's actually got my brain sparked off as well with a few other ideas. So I've been writing everything down that's been going on. And we've been working together for years. And yeah, I still get, every time I hear you talk, I get more ideas. So it's great. But yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for having me. And yeah, we'll send that link through, or you can find me and PF on all the socials.